So before we dive into a presentation, I would like to share with you a little story. So a decade ago, I found myself in a conversation with a friend who worked in the HR industry. And we stumbled upon an idea. It is always challenging to identify candidates in the IT industry. So what if we could predict if someone might leave their job within the 2 or 3 months, the next 2-3 months? It could be very nice because we could reach out to them and offer them exciting job opportunity. And disclaimer, it works. But the thing is, if you want to train machine learning algorithms, you need profiles, you need data, and you don't need just 100 data. You need millions of profiles. So we thought, okay, let's go and gather them. So I tried to get thousands of profiles, but I was very new to web scraping, so I quickly hit a wall. I was blocked. So I checked on Stack Overflow how to solve that. And the answer was, use proxy guy. But at this time, proxies were very expensive. So my idea was to buy a virtual machine on Amazon, install a script proxy, and get a fresh IP address. It worked a little bit. But I always face the same problem. So what if we could start many instances and get a lot of IP addresses? So the idea came into the form of a basic script. By installing the virtual machine, automatically you will have fresh IP addresses. It was the birth of the Scrappers project. But using VMs from cloud provider doesn't prevent you from being blocked. I was clearly new on web scraping. And there was something I didn't know. It was called the Turing test. So let me share with you another example. So when I came to this conference, I was so excited, and I bought tickets, flight tickets, and the interaction looked like this one. So, hey, I'm a human living in Paris, and I'm so excited to be in PyCon. I will buy a round-trip ticket during the evening using Safari on Mac, and I use DSL connections. It seems to an organic behaviors. But when it comes to web scraping, it's more like, hey, I'm scraping, you just saw that before. Living in data centers, I'm not interested in PyCons. My goal is to retrieve 1,000 prices from many airlines. I'm accessing to data with a deep link at 2 AM using Python library within my Docker. My internet provider is AWS, and I love to randomize my parameters. Honestly, do you think that is an organic behavior? No. And the website understands that, and the antibot too. You see, they conduct Turing tests on your behalf. So the question is, how do antibot systems assess us? It's very simple. They meticulously scrutinize our browser stack. Starting from our IP address, they know where we are coming from. By checking the protocol headers, also they execute JavaScript to get browser and system configurations, and they track our navigation patterns. So they know what web pages we are looking for, the sequence of web pages, the sequence of events, such as mouse movements, and they cross average signals, and they kick us out. So let's dive into each layers. First layer is the IP address layers. This is the very first piece of information a website received when we connect to it. And it is a gold mine of information. They know if we are using an internet box, they know if we are coming from a data center, if we are purchasing a ticket from Paris to New York, and the IP address is from India. It's not normal. If you have a US IP address, but your time zone is based in Vilnius on your browser, clearly it's suspect. So you will be kicked out. The next level, the next layer is the protocol headers. And we can see 3 protocol headers. First one is TCP, second is TLS, and the last one is HTTP2. So let's dive into the first one. So the request for comments describe how operating system should implement the TCP protocols. But in practice, each implementation is very different from one operating system to another, and even between the same version, operating system and different versions, it's very different. So you can know if it is different version of Windows or Linux by just statistically analyzing the headers of the TCP protocols. And if we move to the TLS, so TLS stands for Transport Layer Protocols, it's an encryption protocol at the top of the TCP protocols, and it's used everywhere. So when the browser wants to establish a secure connection to the server, it will start a handshake protocols. And during the handshake protocol, it will start with a client hello message. And in this client hello message, it will send all the supported encryption protocol of the browsers. Of course, the server will select the most compatible and secure protocol and will reply. This list of protocol plus option is called the cipher suite. And after that, they will negotiate a key to do symmetric encryptions. This is where the magic unfolds. Each browser version has its unique cipher suite plus option, and you can fingerprint that. So you can know it from Chrome, Firefox, Edge, or Go library, Python library, Node.js library. And if we move to the next protocol, so HTTP to header, it's quite the same like TCP protocols. So implementation introduced variation on headers, on order of headers, and many others. So you can fingerprint that by statistically looking at the headers and deduce which browser is sending the packets. So now I think you know where I'm heading with this. So picture this. You are Firefox on Windows. You claim that, but the browser stack say you are clearly Chrome on Linux. Clearly the antibot will kick you out. And it's not finished. If you are looking to the HTTP protocol, you are able to fingerprint the HTTP headers. So this is just 4 lines of code from a well-known antibot system. I won't say the name. It's public on internet if you deep dive a little bit. This tiny little function just lists and fingerprint the order of HTTP headers. Because when you are developing a spider, a scraper, you are just reducing the number of headers to the bare minimum for maintenance and to keep it simple. But as you know, as you see on these functions, even the headers are not crucial for the API. They are vital for the fingerprinting process. And clearly, this function can kick out most of the scraper in the world. And also, you know that browser can execute JavaScript. It is truly astonishing how much information they can get from JavaScript. They can get your time zone, they can get your GPU model, they can fingerprint your GPU. They can also get the number of speakers, the model of speakers, the number of microphones, the camera, the battery, so they know if you are a laptop or mobile. They can know the list of font, of plugin. They can know if you have an ad block. They can know if you leak your real IP address with a rare RTC leak. They can get the browser size and window size and many information, blah, blah, blah. And if you are using a mobile, they can know if you are using Android debug, so are you reverse engineering the applications. They can know the device model, they can know the Android model versions, they can know also the unique install ID of your smartphones. So they can track everything. And on top of that, they can track also your behaviors. So they track a lot of information. They track if you initiate your journey with a search query, or are you accessing with a deep link directly to the data. Very human behavior. They also check if you are loading JavaScript, executing JavaScript, loading CSS, HTML, or just fetching the HTML. They also track the timing of your actions. They track the delay between web pages. They track the delay between events like mouse clicks, like key events, and so on. And also they track the mouse movements. So human tends to move the mouse cursor in a natural, fluid manner, often resembling to a basic curve, as opposite to a straight line movement for a bot. That's why sometimes you navigate smoothly on the website, you get the first page, second page, third page, and after that, you get a CAPTCHA. It's because your reputation score is gradually decreasing over time and going below thresholds. And they push you CAPTCHA to check if you are really a human. And of course, we are in an AI world, and they blend everything with classification, so they use binary classifications, and to adapt over time they use reinforcement learnings. I'm for sure they use cat boost algorithms, so they easily can detect you. So it's a lot. Are you agree with that? Yes. So how can we bypass that? So if I'm here, there is some solutions. And of course, if you want to try to outsmart the Turing test, there is some weakness. And this failure is known as the false positive. So let me share with you another examples. So last year, I wanted to buy some train ticket online. And when I was at the payment page, the website just blocked me. I was on my laptop, personal laptop, not doing any scraping on that. The website just stating, "You're a bot. Thanks." Honestly, it took me by surprise, but I just switched to the competitor website. And when you are running a business, false positive is something that you want to avoid at all costs. So anti-bot system must adapt for that. So there is two approaches for that, and data scientists will confirm that for you. The first one, if you want to train algorithms, machine learning algorithms, you need millions of clean data for your training data sets. So for each signal, you need millions of clean data. It's very impossible, very expensive, so they skip this approach. The second approach is to just focus on the most effective signals. And furthermore, you should know that some signals are very difficult to get, like the network protocols, because you need to be on direct access on internet and be routed for that. So they just focus on IP address, HTTP headers, JavaScript execution, and behavior tracking. So most of commercial solutions will track between 100 and 200 signals, so we can try to check which signals they are trying to follow, to monitor. So now let's move into an example of architecture of anti-bot systems. So it's a three-step dance. There is a browser, the website, and the anti-bot. And sometimes the anti-bot is hosted on the website. So first, you execute the JavaScript code of the anti-bot system on your browser. It gathers configurations, mouse movement, etc., a lot of information. This payload is encrypted, and the code to gather information is obfuscated. So the payload encrypted is sent to the anti-bot, which replies with a token, mostly a cookie. And when you are trying to connect, when you are connecting to the website, along with your request, you are sending this cookie. So now the website just has to query the anti-bot to get your reputation score and to grant or deny you access. So that's very simple dance that the anti-bot are doing. So the question is, how do you tackle that? You cannot use a very, very advanced, expensive method to tackle that, because some website has no protection, some website has low protection, some website has high protection, just as Oxylab, how they do. The thing is, you will use very simple techniques for no protection and so on, and you will increment the techniques depending on the protection. So you need an incremental methodology. So let me share with you a methodology, a generic methodology for tackles the protections. First, if you well followed the previous talk, you know how to code spiders. Use Scrapy, it's a very famous scraper in Python. So you have your spiders, now perhaps you're blocked. So what you can do is to tune your spiders. You can change the delay of requests, the number of concurrent requests, the user agents, header, are you using cookie or not, are you using the latest TLS versions, you can change the order of requests, payload, etc. If it's not working, it's perhaps you are using only one IP address, your laptop IP address to a single server IP address. So it's time to introduce proxy. So to start with proxy, you can use data center proxy. They are fast, cheap, and reliable. And of course, you can connect with proxy, which is free, open source, and you can install on-premise to manage all your proxy strategy. If it's not working, just to focus on ISP proxy, it's kind of data center proxy, but they don't use the IP address from the data centers. They use IP address from internet boxes. So it's very sneaky and can bypass the anti-bot systems. If at this time it's not working, perhaps it's because your automation system is detected. So it's time to move to not headless browser, but headful browsers. So you need to build your own stack for that. Or you can use commercial solution, but there is a lot of open source tools to bypass and to create this stack. And if all these steps are not working, perhaps it's time to use unblocker APIs. So it's paying, but all providers are providing unblocker API like Oxylabs, and it will do all the previous steps for you, and you can directly jump to these steps. And if it's not working, you can also add some CAPTCHA solver, AI CAPTCHA solvers. They are very fast. They can solve CAPTCHA in 1 or 2 seconds, comparing to human CAPTCHA solving, which is 45 seconds about, and it's not good to use human in this process. It's not very ethical, so let's use CAPTCHA with AI. So that's why a methodology, a generic methodology that you can try to solve the different anti-bot protections. If you want to go deeper into the reverse engineering part, I just drop you some tools. So there is reverse engineering tool, fingerprinting tool, automation tool, scraping tool, and of course proxy tools. You can use the proxy and just start to reverse engineering the different protections. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be very happy to answer all your questions.
What about privacy sandbox when you're trying to scrape first-party data of a user and selling that data to the companies? So privacy sandbox is a cookieless feature rolled out 1% on Google Chrome. So how do you maybe deal with this? Do you have any information?
So are you speaking about how they check your material, your stack with Chrome?
Yes, because this feature specifically blocks getting the user data.
Yeah, the thing is, if it blocking user data, the anti-bot system on classic user won't access to the website. So it happens sometimes on website, you, as a user, I cannot pay or get my tickets, as I already told. So the thing is, I saw websites which are very high protections, so it blocks a lot of real users, and they lower the protection during times, so they keep their customers. Is it, am I answering? Yeah.
You can check it out later.
Okay, I will do. Yeah.
I have a question regarding VPNs.
Yeah.
And of course, there's sort of profuse use, and I know a lot of companies will just outright ban anything they profile as a VPN. But now with a lot more variety in the protocols that are being used, like WireGuard is kind of a more default use, same Proton VPN. You know, I think we've all had the experience. You're trying to purchase something, maybe at an airport or somewhere else, and you're connected to a VPN to make sure your connection's encrypted, and you're basically unable to basically do what you're doing. So sort of what implication have VPNs had sort of in your experience, and what do you feel would be the adequate solution? Because obviously they are used for malicious activities as well.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes people use VPN to do web scraping, but it's not a lot used because when you are using VPN, you just have one IP address, and so but you need sometimes hundreds of IP addresses. So it's not very used. And you're right. Most of websites are blocking classic VPNs. So techniques, the best technique if you are using VPN is to rent your own VPN. So you install your own VPN, is what I'm doing. I got a VPN at my home and I'm always connecting with my personal VPN. So I'm never blocked because it's my internet box.
Right.
Yeah. But if you are in the case of company, it depends. Yeah, you're right. Thanks. Yep.
Yeah, my question would be, have you ever tried to deobfuscate the JavaScript files of the antibot solution? And what was the experience of this?
So the answer is yes. It's depending on the commercial antibot. There is more or less 7 antibot commercial systems in the world. There are different technologies. Some are very complicated. Casada from Australia is very complex. There is other companies which are simpler, but mostly they are tracking about 100 and 200 signals. That's why I talk, because I saw the signals. Yeah.
And if I may, second part of the question, you said that antibot tracking, are you loading that CSS and JavaScript files? Is this information from deobfuscating the files?
No. The thing is, it's how antibot system is working. They are not tracking just JavaScript. They are tracking the whole layer and checking the consistency. So it's not trying to generate token by bypassing the obfuscated code. It's also having a consistent stack. So the thing is, if you are sending, you bypass the token and you send the right user agent and you re-encrypt the informations, but your browser stack, at the end you have a TCP stack from a Linux, it's completely inconsistent and they will flag you. And there is a lot of technique by antibot system also. Most common antibot system I saw are now able to